Have you ever felt as though you met someone on a level that goes beyond time and space? As if beneath that first conversation, there were already years of quiet intimacy waiting to unfold. Carl Jung transformed our understanding of relationships by showing that certain connections operate on layers far deeper than conscious awareness can grasp. But here's what most people don't realize. Your true soulmate is not the person who completes you. They are the one who awakens your ability to become whole. Jung explained that certain souls recognize each other not because they are identical, but because they carry complementary pieces of a greater puzzle that only makes sense when brought together. In this video, you'll discover the 13 unmistakable signs Jung identified as evidence that you've found your true soulmate. Ignore these signs, and you may miss the opportunity to experience a kind of love that transforms not just your life, but your very essence. Because there is a profound difference between being in love with someone and recognizing a soul that entered this world to walk beside you. So stay until the end, because this difference may determine whether you live a life of surface-level connections or experience what the ancients once called a sacred union. For Jung, the concept of a soulmate goes far beyond common ideas of romance. It is rooted in the complementary alignment of archetypes within the collective unconscious, creating a deep and meaningful harmony. Jung described 3 levels of connection: the persona, our social mask; the ego, our conscious identity; and the self, our authentic and transcendent core. A soulmate connects at the level of the self, recognizing each other's deeper essence. This connection often involves the projection of anima or animus, where we perceive in the other the outward expression of our inner archetypal image of the sacred feminine or masculine. There are 2 types of projection. Positive projection occurs when we admire qualities we wish to develop, such as recognizing someone's confidence as a reflection of our own hidden potential. Negative projection happens when we reject traits that mirror parts of ourselves we have denied. The key distinction lies between healthy archetypal projection and unhealthy neurotic projection. In neurotic projection, we idealize the other person to fill our inner voids. True soulmates, however, move through a process of withdrawing projections, dissolving illusions, and allowing genuine love to emerge, loving the real person rather than an imagined version. A soulmate relationship does not mean the absence of conflict. In fact, it often involves challenge. Soulmates activate each other's shadows to encourage psychological and spiritual growth. The true soulmate supports your individuation. They do not complete you, but awaken your ability to complete yourself. To recognize projection, ask yourself, what do I admire in this person? Then explore whether that quality already exists within you. Another sign is the urge to control or change the other person. A genuine soulmate connection brings deep acceptance of who the other truly is, without the need to reshape them. According to analytical psychology, individuation is the central process of human life. The journey toward becoming whole by integrating all fragmented parts of the psyche into a unified identity. Jung discovered something remarkable. Certain people enter our lives specifically to accelerate this inner development. A true soulmate is not someone who makes life easier, but someone who makes life more authentic. They act as a living mirror, reflecting not only who you are, but who you have the potential to become. This can feel both inspiring and uncomfortable at the same time. During individuation, we must confront and integrate our shadow, the aspects of ourselves we have learned to hide or reject. A soulmate often activates this shadow in ways that cannot be ignored. If you identify as highly rational, They may awaken your suppressed emotional side. If you see yourself as independent, they may reveal your deeper need for connection. Jung emphasized that this mutual activation of the shadow is essential for mature relationships. Couples who avoid confronting difficult aspects in each other often remain stuck in comfort zones that limit growth. A soulmate, however, carries both the courage and responsibility to encourage conscious evolution. Another important part of individuation is developing the inferior function, the psychological function we are least skilled in among thinking, feeling, sensation, and intuition. A soulmate often embodies this function, guiding your growth in that area. If you are primarily intuitive, you may feel drawn to someone who teaches you grounding and presence through sensation. Soulmate connections also trigger what Jung called moments of ego transcendence, times when your fixed identity temporarily dissolves, allowing broader dimensions of your personality to emerge. This can occur during intimacy, meaningful conversations, or even in shared silence. Jung understood that individuation is a lifelong process. A soulmate is someone willing to grow alongside you over time. It is not about loving who you are in this moment alone, but committing to who you both can become through a shared journey of conscious evolution. The difference between soulmate love and neurotic attachment can be subtle, but Jung outlined clear distinctions. Attachment arises from lack. You need the other person to feel complete, secure, or validated. A soulmate connection arises from abundance. You choose them because you recognize something deeper within them. Attachment often includes obsession. You think about the person constantly, feel anxious when they are unavailable, and interpret every action as a sign of approval or rejection. In contrast, a soulmate connection carries a sense of inner calm. Even in intensity, there is a foundation of trust. Attachment also involves extreme idealization, where flaws are ignored to maintain a fantasy. With a soulmate, you clearly see imperfections and still feel a deep sense of recognition. Your relationship with your own life is another indicator. Attachment can cause you to neglect friendships, career, and personal growth. A soulmate connection, on the other hand, inspires you to become more committed to your purpose and development. Communication also reveals the difference. Attachment may involve emotional games, subtle manipulation, and fear of honesty. With a soulmate, there is a natural openness and the ability to be vulnerable without fear of judgment. Finally, Jung noted that attachment leads to stagnation. You stop growing because you remain in emotional comfort. A soulmate connection creates expansion, encouraging continuous growth and self-discovery. Now, let's explore the 13 signs Jung identified as evidence that you have found your true soulmate. The first sign is a sense of familiarity that goes beyond linear time. Jung referred to this as archetypal remembrance, when two individuals recognize each other at a level that bypasses conscious awareness. It is not just comfort with someone new, but a deep certainty that you have known them before. This familiarity appears in subtle ways. You may have known each other for only a short time, yet you can predict each other's reactions with surprising accuracy. Inside jokes form naturally, as if they are continuations of past conversations. You may find yourself speaking to them as if you have shared years together. Jung explained that this happens because soulmates often share similar archetypal patterns, universal ways of processing experience that exist within the collective unconscious. It feels as though you are speaking the same inner language, even if your personalities differ. There is also a lack of surprise when you discover deep similarities. Instead of being amazed, there is a quiet sense of course, as if these connections confirm something you already knew at a deeper level. This sign differs from simple compatibility because it carries a unique sense of time, almost like continuing something that was paused, rather than starting something entirely new. Jung also observed that soulmates often display unconscious mirroring, automatically reflecting each other's gestures, expressions, and even breathing patterns without awareness. This goes beyond normal imitation. It suggests a deeper synchronization of the psyche. You may notice similar body language during conversations. One person crosses their legs, and the other follows moments later. A head tilt, a gesture, or posture is subtly mirrored without intention. This happens naturally, without a clear leader. Mirroring extends to language as well. You begin using similar phrases, develop shared expressions, check and unconsciously adopt each other's communication style. Others may even notice how alike you sound after a short time together. Jung believed this mirroring reflects a deeper alignment of psychological rhythms. It is not deliberate imitation, but an automatic harmony, like two instruments naturally tuned to the same frequency. Emotional mirroring can also occur. One person may feel an unexplained shift in emotion, only to later discover the other was experiencing something significant at the same time. There may be moments when both feel the urge to connect simultaneously, leading to messages or calls sent at the exact same moment. One of the most challenging yet confirming signs of a soulmate is mutual shadow activation, the emergence of those parts of yourself you have long suppressed or denied. Jung emphasized that true soulmates do not only complement each other, they also confront each other in ways that support deep growth. You may see yourself as logical and controlled, yet in their presence, discover unexpected emotional depth and spontaneity. Or they may view themselves as strong and independent, yet begin to explore vulnerability and the need for care without feeling weakened. This process can feel uncomfortable at times. You might feel irritated by traits in them that actually reflect parts of yourself you have rejected. If they seem overly emotional, it may mirror your own suppressed expressiveness. If they appear too sensitive, they may reflect your unacknowledged vulnerability. Jung noted that superficial relationships avoid triggering these deeper layers, maintaining comfort but limiting growth. A true soulmate, however, has the courage to activate these hidden aspects, recognizing that this process is essential for both individuals to evolve. The decisive sign is that, despite the initial discomfort, you are able to integrate these shadow aspects in a constructive way. Rather than rejecting what you discover, you use these insights to become more whole and authentic. Sign 4 is that the relationship remains meaningful even in silence. Carl Jung identified shared silence as one of the clearest indicators of a soulmate connection. When two people can sit together without needing to fill every moment with words, it reflects synchronization at very deep levels of awareness. Notice whether you can remain quiet for long periods without unease. Not the awkward silence of not knowing what to say, but the calm silence of being fully present with one another. It can feel as though communication continues on a subtle level, even without words. There is often a sense of intuitive or almost telepathic understanding, moments when one knows what the other is thinking, without anything being spoken. You look at each other and simply understand. There is a shared awareness that goes beyond explanation. Jung described this as connecting within a common psychic space, where two minds temporarily overlap and communication happens through direct resonance rather than language. Another feature is that ordinary activities begin to feel almost meditative when done together. Cooking, walking, or even simple daily tasks take on a deeper quality when there is this silent attunement. Mutual presence transforms routine actions into meaningful experiences. Sign 5 is the presence of synchronicities. Jung introduced the idea of synchronicity to describe meaningful coincidences that suggest an underlying order within life's apparent randomness. When soulmates meet, they often experience a surge of such events that seem to confirm the uniqueness of their connection. These may include unlikely coincidences from the past, discovering you were in the same place during important moments without ever meeting, or realizing there were indirect connections through people or circumstances before you knew each other. There are also everyday synchronicities, calling each other at the same time, thinking the same thought simultaneously, or receiving signs that seem to reflect the relationship. Songs appear at the right moment. Certain numbers repeat, and events align in ways that feel intentional. Jung suggested these are not random, but expressions of a deeper archetypal order within the collective unconscious. It can feel as though life itself supports and affirms connections that contribute to personal growth. The key detail is that both individuals notice and value these moments, not just one person assigning meaning, but both recognizing that something significant is unfolding. Sign 6 is that the relationship grows through obstacles. Unlike fragile connections that weaken under pressure, soulmate relationships tend to strengthen when challenged. Jung observed that difficulties often reveal and deepen authentic bonds. When facing disagreements, external pressures, or complicated situations, you may find that working through these issues brings you closer rather than pushing you apart. Each resolved conflict increases understanding and intimacy. A natural sense of partnership develops, not in a defensive or isolating way, but as a shared commitment to face challenges together. Problems become opportunities for cooperation and growth. Jung emphasized that soulmate connections have the ability to transform tension into development. Difficult moments lead to more honest conversations, deeper insight, and discoveries that would not emerge in easier times. There is also a natural persistence. Both individuals feel inclined to work through problems rather than walk away, not from attachment, but from recognizing the value of the connection. The key sign is that after conflict, you feel closer and understand each other more clearly. Sign 7 is that she inspires your best self. Jung noted that true soulmates act as catalysts for unlocking hidden potential. In her presence, you naturally access higher aspects of your personality, not through pressure, but through inspiration. You may find yourself drawn to interests you never explored before, or developing qualities that were previously dormant. Likewise, she may begin expressing parts of herself more freely through your influence. This process happens naturally, without forcing change. There is a mutual elevation. Both of you feel encouraged to become more generous, confident, creative, or compassionate simply by being together. It feels as though her presence awakens qualities that already existed within you, but needed the right environment to emerge. Jung explained that this occurs because a soulmate reflects your higher self, the more complete version of who you can become. Through her recognition of that potential, you begin to embody it. This is different from relationships where you feel pressured to improve, to gain approval. With a soulmate, growth comes from genuine desire, not obligation. Sign 8 is the spontaneous transformation of habits and patterns. Jung observed that in the presence of a soulmate, changes often occur naturally, without conscious effort. You may notice shifts in behavior, becoming more open, expressive, or relaxed in ways that feel effortless. She may also display changes, becoming more intuitive or emotionally expressive. These adjustments are not forced. They emerge organically. Even physical rhythms may align. Speech patterns, daily routines, or even sleep cycles can begin to synchronize. It feels as though your systems naturally seek harmony. This does not mean you are pretending to be someone else. Instead, the connection allows more authentic aspects of your personality to surface. Others may notice that you seem more at ease, present, and genuinely yourself when you are together. This happens because the relationship creates a psychological space where defenses lower, allowing your true nature to appear more freely. Another clear sign is the effortless ability to be vulnerable. Jung saw this as a form of deep archetypal trust, a sense of safety that allows openness without fear of rejection. You may find yourself sharing insecurities, fears, or personal struggles that you would normally hide. Instead of pushing the other person away, this honesty deepens the bond. There is also less need to impress. You can show imperfections, admit uncertainty, and have difficult days without feeling that it threatens the connection. There is a mutual acceptance that allows both of you to simply be human. Jung explained that this is possible because a soulmate sees beyond surface roles and social masks, recognizing your deeper essence. There is no need to appear perfect because you are already accepted as you are. This is often expressed in small but meaningful ways. Being able to show emotion without embarrassment, ask for help without feeling weak, and experience a sense of emotional comfort in each other's presence. Sign 10 is a shared sense of purpose. Jung observed that soulmates often connect not only as partners, but as collaborators in something that extends beyond the relationship itself. It can feel as though you came together to contribute something meaningful, whether through creative work, service to others, or simply the positive influence your relationship has on those around you. You may notice that ideas flow more easily when you are together, and goals that once seemed difficult become achievable as a team. There is a sense that your combined energy has a greater impact. Jung suggested that this occurs because such connections access deeper layers of the psyche, where collective and transpersonal purposes exist. Together, you may become a channel for creativity, growth, or support that benefits others as well. A clear sign is that you begin planning not just personal goals, but ways to contribute something meaningful beyond yourselves. Sign 11 is that you would choose her again, even knowing the pain. Jung considered this one of the strongest indicators of a soulmate connection. Even with full awareness of the challenges, conflicts, and difficulties involved, you would still choose the relationship again. This is not about suffering for its own sake, but about recognizing that the growth gained through the connection is worth the struggle. There is a sense of inevitability, as though this relationship is a necessary part of your life's path. Even if circumstances forced separation, the connection would leave a lasting impact. Jung noted that this distinguishes soulmate relationships from those based only on comfort or convenience. There is also a broader perspective on time. You evaluate the relationship not only by present moments, but by the overall transformation it brings to your life. Even difficult experiences are understood as part of that development. The defining sign is a deep certainty that, if given the chance to live your life again, you would make the same choices that led to this connection. Sign 12 is that her love is self-sustaining. Jung described a unique quality of love in soulmate relationships, one that does not depend on conditions or circumstances. She loves you not just for what you do, but for who you are at your core. This love remains steady even during difficult times, when you may not be at your best. You may notice that her care does not disappear when you are struggling, stressed, or emotionally distant. It does not rely on constant validation or perfect behavior. There is a consistent, unconditional quality to it. This does not mean a lack of awareness or boundaries, but rather an ability to see beyond temporary states to your deeper nature. Jung believed this is possible because soulmate connections operate at the level of the self, not the ego. It feels as though she recognizes something enduring within you, something that remains unchanged despite shifting moods or external circumstances. This is expressed through small, steady actions, continued care during tension, quiet support during challenges, and a sense of loyalty that is not easily shaken by temporary conflicts. You feel that this love carries a sense of permanence that goes beyond temporary circumstances. The final sign Carl Jung identified as definitive of a soulmate is the ability to maintain a psychic connection even during physical separation. It is not simply longing or memory, but a real sense of ongoing presence that transcends distance and time. You may be in different cities and still feel her energy, almost as if she were near you. There are moments when you sense she is thinking about you, only to later confirm that she was. Or you may wake with a strong feeling that something significant happened to her, and later realize your intuition was accurate. Jung explained that this occurs because soulmates develop what he described as a shared psychic field, a dimension where both consciousnesses remain connected regardless of physical distance. It is as though you operate on the same energetic frequency. There is also a sense of inner presence. Even when she is not physically there, you can access an internal experience of her that brings comfort, clarity, or emotional support. This is not imagination or memory, but an active psychological presence. The key indicator is that physical absence does not break the connection. It may create longing, but it does not produce insecurity about the bond. There is a deep certainty that the connection exists beyond physical reality, and that temporary distance does not weaken it. Jung also emphasized that recognizing a soulmate is not always immediate or obvious. Sometimes it develops gradually, and early impressions may be unclear. If you are uncertain, there are practical ways to better understand the nature of the connection. First, observe patterns over time rather than isolated experiences. A soulmate connection reveals itself through consistency. The signs tend to appear repeatedly across different situations. If they only occur occasionally, it may indicate compatibility rather than a deeper bond. Jungian psychology also highlights what can be called bodily resonance, how your body responds to the person over time. A soulmate connection often brings feelings of calm, expansion, or renewed energy. If you frequently feel anxious, drained, or tense, it may point to a different type of dynamic. Next, consider whether the relationship supports mutual growth. A soulmate encourages development, not stagnation. Constructive challenges are positive, but constant criticism or emotional diminishment suggests an unhealthy pattern. Finally, trust your deeper intuition rather than surface-level desires. Jung believed that the higher self recognizes its counterpart, but this awareness can be clouded by emotional needs or external expectations. Practices such as reflection, journaling, or therapy can help clarify this inner understanding. One of the most important distinctions Jung made was between true soulmate connections and intense but unhealthy relationships that can feel similar. Both may involve strong emotions, synchronicities, and transformation, but their outcomes are very different. In unhealthy relationships mistaken for destiny, intensity often comes from unresolved trauma rather than genuine recognition. There may be repeated cycles of closeness and distance, emotional instability, and exhaustion. While such relationships may activate the shadow, they do so in ways that increase inner conflict rather than integration. Jung observed that these dynamics often involve strong projection, seeing qualities in the other person that are not truly there, or connecting them to unresolved past experiences. This leads to obsession instead of love, dependency instead of choice, and unconscious fusion instead of a conscious bond. The defining difference is seen in long-term results. A soulmate connection leads to greater self-integration, deeper self-awareness, expanded capacity to love, and ongoing personal growth. A toxic relationship, in contrast, leads to fragmentation, dependency, isolation, and psychological regression. With a soulmate, you become more fully yourself. In a toxic relationship, you gradually lose your sense of self within unhealthy patterns. A true soulmate supports your individuation. It never undermines it. If there is consistent emotional or physical harm, manipulation, isolation from others, or damage to your self-worth, this is not a soulmate connection. Regardless of intensity, a genuine soulmate relationship enhances your humanity rather than diminishing it. If you recognize your soulmate through these signs, Jung offered clear guidance for maintaining and honoring this connection. First, avoid idealizing the person or the relationship. A soulmate does not mean perfection, but compatibility that allows for growth through acceptance of each other's full humanity. Commit to what Jung described as conscious work, using the relationship as a path for continuous personal development. This involves facing shadow aspects, communicating honestly, and supporting each other's evolution. It is also valuable to create shared practices that honor the depth of the connection, such as meaningful conversations, reflection, or time spent understanding the patterns and synchronicities within the relationship. At the same time, maintain a strong sense of individuality. A soulmate complements your relationship with yourself, but does not replace it. Continue developing your personal interests, friendships, and purpose. Finally, recognize the rarity of such a connection. Do not take it for granted. Approach it with appreciation, presence, and respect for the opportunity to experience this form of connection. Carl Jung dedicated his life to exploring the depths of the human psyche, and among his most impactful insights was his understanding of soulmate connections. He believed that certain relationships go beyond chance, acting as pathways for inner transformation that can influence not only individuals, but generations. If you have recognized your soulmate through these signs, understand that you are engaging in something deeply meaningful. A union the ancients referred to as hierogamos, or sacred marriage, representing the harmony of complementary forces within consciousness. If you have not yet experienced this, trust that your process of individuation is preparing you to recognize it when the time is right. Jung reminds us that a soulmate is not someone who completes you, but someone who awakens within you the ability to become whole. It is about recognizing, in another person, a reflection of your own deeper nature, and allowing that recognition to guide you toward a more conscious and authentic way of living. Now consider this. How many of these signs did you recognize? Share in the comments. I found my soulmate if you have experienced this connection. Or, I am ready to recognize her if you are still on the journey. And subscribe to continue exploring the deeper dimensions of human consciousness through Jung's enduring ideas.